Hello, true duelists. My name is Craig Fee, and as always, welcome to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update. We start this week's update with a in-depth look at YCS Santiago in Chile that took place this past weekend. Is the sentence I'd love to honestly be saying to you, but in the name of full transparency, folks, I have not been able to find a ton of information on the event. As is standard for events not held in exactly North America or Europe, there's barely been any coverage in any capacity, and what I've been able to find is incredibly lacking. From what I have found, Pearly got at least one spot in the top 16. Labyrinth also got one spot in the top 16. And an Adventure Plunder Patrol deck got top 16 as well. I'd love to go in depth on that, but at least we know it exists, according to me. Neat. And that's about all I do know. Top 8 is much better known, with one Dragon Link deck, one Super Heavy Samurai deck, and 6 spots for Kashtira. The deck's dominance is absolutely nothing surprising by now, and top 4 was also entirely cash, so Dragon Link and Super Heavy Samurai were out of the picture. The finals of the event was ultimately a match between Yu-Gi-Oh's unofficial final boss, Jesse Cotton, who would ultimately place second, and the winner of the event, Eddie Andre Alba, who I apologize for that pronunciation of, my god. A huge congrats go to him for the title and the trophy regardless though, big ups. As I'm writing this, I have found incredibly little in the way of deck lists from the event because apparently Chile isn't real. I don't know, Jesse Cotton posted his deck profile, that I know of. If you know of any other places to find info on these sorts of events though, I'm all ears. Anything to improve the channel in segments like this, because I'm just gonna be real, I don't speak a lot of Spanish. I'm not following a lot of Spanish peoples because I can't read the tweets and whatnot. So if there is like a Twitter account or a YouTube channel that does report on these sorts of events that my Anglo-speaking ass is just unaware of, by all means, please enlighten me. I'd love to see more stuff in that regard, because Konami sure as shit won't be doing it. As for upcoming YCSs, next week will be YCS Godless Wasteland. I'm sorry, that reads YCS Philadelphia. Same thing though, really. You can't convince me otherwise. That's coming up starting tomorrow, really, by the time you're watching this. So I'll be reporting on that next week because there will be actual coverage of it, because it's not Latin America. Sorry to LATAM. And it's also, I think, the 72-hour grind for Worlds and Master Duels, so it's going to be cash and tears all weekend. It's a lovely time. We're looking forward to it all for next week's update. In some other meta news that I can actually report on, props go to Lampy Yugioh on Twitter for providing me and the world with this spreadsheet covering the last 3 weeks of regionals in Europe, highlighting which decks have made the top cut and how many have gone on to actually win their events. It's a pretty neat look at the actual strength of decks in the game, as well as which are consistently able to actually pull through for the win. For example, Kashtira has 49 tops in the last 3 weeks, with 3 wins in total, compared to Sprite, which only had 11 tops across all events, but also has 3 wins, so much higher conversion rate to the W from Sprite players. As for the new deck, Super Heavy Samurai has topped 25 times compared to, say, Pearly's 12, but Super Heavy Samurai has yet to actually win an event, while Pearly at least has one single win and belt under its name. That's some added copium to any Pearly players who have paid for that core post-price spike, because my god. Also interesting is, of course, Branded's 14 tops compared to its 2 wins, and Labyrinth's 12 tops that have converted into 2 wins as well. Both of these decks have been hyped up as 2 underdogs of sorts relative to Kashtira in this format, and fell off pretty gradually as format, went on and on and on. Branded's brutal weakness to Ash Blossom and Labyrinth being a deck that can fall to the plethora of side deck options, I believe what kept them in line, or in check as the format ultimately developed. But with the new additions to the format in Cyberstorm Access of Super Heavy Samurai and Pearly, things seem to be changing a bit. People are dropping Ash Blossom a bit more in favor of adding cards like Drollin Lockbird and Ghost Ogre to combat Super Heavy Samurai and the like, which is inadvertently helping Branded, because if you're not playing Ash and you can't Ash the fusion, Branded's gonna go off. As for why Labyrinth is starting to see more success, fuck if I know, dude. Maybe people just aren't drawing the outs as much, or it's a decent Cash Tira matchup has ultimately led to more favorable showings at these events than, you know, the Samurais and the Not Quite Cats. You tell me. I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are on all of this in the comments, and we can start the unofficial betting pool on when Super Heavy Samurai finally wins an event, or more specifically an event in Europe, because I believe they have one over here in the Americas. Because why the fuck what the fuck's going on, Europe? Why don't you like the Samurais? Let me know in the comments, or don't. I'm just farming engagement at this point. I have no obligations here, neither do you. Actually, that's a lie. I do have one obligation. That's to move on to the next segment, which is, of course, going to be the Spice Watch for this week. Yes, because at a regional in Winnipeg, Canada, which for some reason got better coverage than the YCS taking place over the course of the same weekend, we saw 8 separate decks in the top 8 finals. We've got throwbacks such as Eldritch and Flu, and even better, a hero player. So get ready for the most milquetoast fucking Spice Watch you've ever seen. It's literally just a hero deck. Oh, wow. Stratos and Ferris and Mally? Oh, look, no disrespect to the person who got top 4 with their list. I'm just saying this isn't exactly exploding with uniqueness here relative to other hero builds. So much to the point where you probably didn't even think to guess that that's not the hero deck list. That's a different list. This is the list of the top 4 at the Winnipeg Regional. I'm just saying. Sincere congrats to the person who topped with it. Better than I did that weekend, I'll tell you that much. But still, not the spiciest this week. It's more so spicy because it did well and it's hero. Like looking at that top 8 and that hero got top 4. What the fuck's going on in Canada? I'll ask that 9 days a week. I'm not scared. Eldritch and Flu make top 8 alongside Cash and Sprite, but it's hero that makes it to top 4? Wow. In good old Manitoba, of all places. The world's capital for polar bears, fun fact, and capital for players playing hero and topping. And that's the focus of today's Spice Watch, so explain that, Zabooma food denialists. You fucking can't. In some product news, first up, a quick mention to the renaming of the Red Dragon Archfiend Structure Deck, going from the magnum opus of product names being Structure Deck featuring Jack Atlas to now Structure Deck The Crimson King. Look at that. A name as disappointing as the art on the box, featuring 2 vector images that look like something I would throw together in a YouTube thumbnail. It's yours to buy come September 22nd though, so Crimson King. I am excited. You're not going to beat featuring Jack Atlas, my god. More pressingly, however, is the TCG's release of Wild Survivors, with the set list just being revealed as content creators have opened their early edition boxes. We've now got almost the entire thing. We're missing a few collector rares, I think about 7 of them, but we have most. Fans of Transcendrake looking forward to some inexpensive updates to their dinosaur deck can rejoice with only 1 ultra rare of the new cards being Ground Xeno, the new Rhoda for a dinosaur tuner. And the new level 6 tuner itself, the Transcendrake ZBBB, is a super rare, as well as the Dino Synchro and Fusion Monster, with any other new cards and reprints for the decks all being rares, making for a very cheap series, all things considered. Burger Chads can rejoice as well, with the only 2 ultra rares in the Field Spell and the archetypal pre-prep of sorts. The rest of the cards are all super rares, and then I think they've got 2 rare cards in the form of the Continuous and the Counter Trap, so not too pricey for the burger hype price inflation. Whether or not you tip is entirely up to you. That's a service joke. Please laugh. And lastly, the thing everyone's going to be talking about, did you want to play Vanquish Soul? Mayhaps? Fuck you, because that is the general statement according to the set listings and rarities for this archetype, because 7 of the 10 ultra rares of the set are Vanquish Soul cards. That is insane. The majority of the archetype are ultras. Everything else is a super except for like the Counter Trap, I think. So It's the only non-holo in the entire deck, is just the counter trap. Wow. This is the most blatant rarity bump I think I've seen in a minute. And for what is most of the community, they're calling this deck like a mid-range kind of fun control deck, kind of ha-ha neat fun locals, and it's going to be priced into oblivion because all of its cards are the hardest to pull. It's intelligent. I like it. You better hope that this deck does not become significantly better, because if you thought Pearly had a price spike, good Christ. This deck, if it becomes even halfway decent, is going to be a nightmare. Or whether or not you agree with that, we can all agree that whatever the final price is, it's not going to be good enough to warrant, meta relevance to price cost. It ain't there. In some better news, the set does have some solid reprints for anyone looking to pick up some generic staple-esque cards. Allure of Darkness, Enemy Controller, and Tenki. If you're looking for a ritual deck, the Incantations have got a reprint, as well as Manju, and cards like Overraptor and UCT both have rare copy reprints as well as collector rare bumps. Other collector rares known include Tenki, Animadorned Archosaur, the Vanquish Soul Dragon level 8 guy, as well as their Hero Emerges, or a Hero Lives, sorry, and most importantly, a collector's rare Hungry Burger. Blessed be the Burger Boys. I'm so pumped for that. I can't wait to play the Burger deck, so I'm fine with these. But brutal news for anyone wanting to play Anime Girl, Furry Girl deck, Control deck, ultra rare, hyper expensive deck, because ow. You can look forward to the set's release on June 1st or 2nd, depending on your region, just 1 week away. And pick up those overtime shifts now, duelists, because those collector's rare burgers aren't going to be cheap. In community news, I'll give a quick shout out this week to the CaliEffect for one of his more recent videos, highlighting the lack of communication from Konami in regard to the ban list and among other things. He does offer some solutions, although that's almost more of a joke than anything I've said in this video, not from Cali, but the fact that, yeah, they're going to be implemented, I'm sure. Still, it's a good watch. It's a cathartic watch. He speaks some truth about the animosity we've all been feeling as, Manadium Prime Heart tweets corrupt our minds and souls. Anything else? I don't know. We got Team Sam has just been tweeting the most unhinged shit all week, like Misk is coming to 3 and Masterpiece is coming to 3, and if that's at all true, I'm terrified. I'm blatantly terrified at that. And the last one, let's get to that. And speaking of animosity and the ban list, what the fuck was Craig Fee thinking last week, and why wasn't he put under the barrel of his own gun for that blatant, horrible clickbait? Thank you, Marshall. Yeah, so I made a bit of a subatomic oops, if you will, a bit of a ha-ha, fucko boingo style situation, and I just feel I'm going to take the time to explain it a little bit to anyone who is a little bit begrudged, that's not a word, about it last week. So I decided to clickbait DK being banned because I'm sorry to say it, clickbaiting is borderline necessary for getting your video to like pop off in regards to the algorithm and all that jazz. And if you don't feel that the word necessary is appropriate, it is incredibly beneficial when, trying to play the algorithm. It's kind of like deciding to play a game using a controller, and then you can either use the controller with your hands or you can operate it with your feet. You could play with your feet. It is entirely possible for you to do that, but why? Why not use the hands that are so damn handy? If you'll allow a weird, metaphor. So I clickbait DK because he got put on the banned players list. So a ban list got updated. It's been like a month of people complaining about the want for the ban lists. So I go like, haha, that's the wrong ban list. Get it? It's not the ban list we wanted, but it's a ban list. Oh, crazy, so smart, I know. Unfortunately, the way I decided to word it without much thought was not the ban list we wanted, which very much sounds like they gave us a ban list and it just didn't do what they wanted to. They just didn't address Kashtira or anything. So I got some complaints in the comments, which were fair. And then, that I get it. It's a It's a dumb mistake. It's very weird to think that I didn't catch that. I had the context for the joke that was being made. People clicking on the video wouldn't have that context. They wouldn't already know that. So that's why it slipped by. Not intentional, my bad. In a real quick, policy in my regard to clickbait is that I'm gonna do it in some capacity because I'm fucking trying. If Decade or Coder's banned and you slap their face on the thumbnail, it's gonna generate more views than whatever the fuck else I put on thumbnails sometimes. You throw a picture of them on the thumbnail and then he's banned, and it's just like, it's gonna do decent. It's not always what I'm doing, but yeah, The alternative, the one that I prefer, is actually much more akin to my Jesse Cotton abused by Konami video, because that is by far my most successful video ever, and it's absolutely clickbaiting you. Konami abusing a prominent community member, that's gonna get attention. The catch is, when you click on the video, you can jump right to the point where it says, Jesse's abused, and then it's like, oh, they keep taking unflattering pictures of him. It's immediately made clear that it's a bit, and you can get a laugh out of it. But it is clickbait. So it's like, that's my preferred, is when it's like I'm clickbaiting something outrageous because it's me being stupid. That's more what I'm gonna try and lean to, but I just feel like covering my policy. I don't ever plan to intentionally be like, they dropped a ban list, and they didn't, because I hate that shit too. And that's it. I've rambled too long now. Let's wrap it up, huh? And so, moving on from me to my sponsor, thanks this week go, as always, to the LIFD Magnetic Display. The #1 way to support my channel currently, and the true duelist approved way to showcase your copy of a collector's rare Hungry Burger. Because that's my game plan for it. I've got one coming, and I'm going to have a little Hungry Burger there, or something there all the time from now on, because why wouldn't I? That's a joke, of course. I'm not going to have Hungry Burger in the display, because I'll be playing that collector's rare Hungry Burger, because I am now a Burger Deck main man until the day I die. Shit's just throated and goated. And you know what else is throated and goated? The LIFD Magnetic Display. And you can save yourself 50% off by using my promo code or by clicking the link in the description. Thanks to the LIFD team, as always, for supporting, and thank you for watching. So that'll wrap it up for this week's update. As always, I've been your host, Craig Fee. And make sure you subscribe to Yugioh Strats for next week's update to impress your smoking Italian wife, and so you too can be a true duelist.